German economy looming large into a deep economic recession.
Economists are now projecting a winter recession for Germany, saying the economy will likely contract in 2023.
On the 11th of October 2022, IMF forecasted that the German economy might spill over into a deep recession in the next year 2023 and may cause a global downfall.
Russian tanks rolling across the border in southern Ukraine. Airstrikes hitting large cities.
After Putin waged an unprovoked war against Ukraine on February 24th of 2022 and the repercussions causes Europe's largest economy, a behemoth in the automobile industry with the world's biggest chemical base, falls like a house of cards. In this video, we'll try to uncover the clues which lead to the downfall and ways it can minimize it.
Throughout the world, throngs of people hailed the end of the war in Europe.
At the end of World War II, Germany was annexed into two parts called East and West Germany. East was occupied by the communist regime USSR or Soviet Union and West by the United States and Allied forces. As West Germany thrives into an industrial hub, it needed the energy to run its machinery. By the end of the 50s, Russia started industrial level drilling in its Siberian and Arctic circles for oil and gas. But they were lacking long steel pipes for transportation, and Germany at the time manufactured those pipes. After a visit by West German Chancellor Konrad Adenauer to Moscow, the relationship between these two countries increased. Germany started providing pipeline for the Druzhba project, which connects the eastern part of the USSR to Europe. By the year 1964, the Druzhba pipeline got completed and got commissioned and termed as Friendship Pipeline. This pipeline is one of the world's longest oil pipelines and one of the largest oil pipeline networks in the world. A major policy transformation came in the next decade from the West German Chancellor Willy Brandt, who began the Ostpolitik policy, a new Eastern policy, by engaging in mutual association with the Soviet Union and its eastern states for trade and energy matters. By 1970, a major deal was signed between USSR and West Germany, which paved the way for the Transgas pipeline and the extension of the Soyuz pipeline, which links the Czech Republic to the southern part of Germany. And by 1973, West and East Germany started receiving gas, and it becomes a pipe for gas agreement between these two countries. By 1989, Soviet Union crumbled and many individual countries formed during that period, such as Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Ukraine, and many more. It was the same period Berlin Wall, which splits East and West Germany, falls and reunification happens, which gave rise to today's Federal Republic of Germany. Due to geopolitical matters and infrastructure issues for gas pipelines with Ukraine, Russia's state-owned gas entity Gazprom started working on a new gas pipeline that will bypass Ukraine as well as Baltic states such as Poland and Belarus. In 2005, pact was signed by current Russian President Vladimir Putin and former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder, known as Nord Stream 1. It was opened in 2011 and can send a maximum of 170 million cubic meters of gas per day from Russia to the German heartlands. A parallel pipeline to Nord Stream 1 called Nord Stream 2 was started by Gazprom in 2018 and it got finished by 2021. It's a natural gas pipeline under the Baltic Sea running from Russia to Germany's Baltic coast. It will export 110 billion cubic meters of gas a year. It means Gazprom can send more gas to Europe pipeline system without using existing pipelines.
The German Chancellor saying his country will indefinitely stop the certification of the pipeline.
Klingt zwar technisch, ist aber der nötige verwaltungsrechtliche Schritt, damit jetzt keine Zertifizierung der Pipeline erfolgen kann. Und ohne diese Zertifizierung kann Nord Stream 2 ja nicht in Betrieb gehen.
As it was awaiting certification approval from Germany and European Commission for transporting gas, Russia waged war on Ukraine on February 24, 2022 and project certifications were halted forever. This marks the beginning of economic winter for Germany as well as for Europe, and transpires into an economic downturn. The German electricity market is based on a grid system that mainly contains power generators or producer, transmission, distribution, and supply companies. Based on the type of energy sources, energy producers are divided into two categories, mainly fossil fuel operators or renewable energy operators. Due to low carbon emission of natural gas, it majorly operated in Europe, concerning in place of oil for energy generation. Combustion of natural gas emits about half as much as carbon dioxide as coal and 30% less than oil, as well as far fewer pollutants per unit of energy delivered. Natural gas is sold via pipelines from Russia to Germany using Nord Stream 1, Soyuz and Yamal pipelines. The price is however decided by the demand and supply factor, which is based on the Dutch TTF Title Transfer Facility Index. It's a commodity trading platform that regulates the prices of gas in Europe, where sellers can offer their electricity on a market platform and buyers can purchase it to be delivered in specific time frames. Only a few companies are involved in the generation of electricity from natural gas, such as RWE, Uniper, Vanderfall, and EnBW are some of the biggest players. Coal also shares a bigger pie in power generation in Germany. Lignite and hard coal are mainly used by German energy producers. Lignite or brown coal are the lowest quality of coal. The carbon content of lignite ranges from 65 to 70% and generates a hell lot of carbon dioxide into air. On the other hand, anthracite is a dark black form of coal and the highest quality coal. It is a very hard, has a low moisture content and a carbon content of nearly 95% and generate less carbon dioxide. The major operators in this field are RWE, EnBW and Vattenfall. Germany is a long admirer of nuclear energy and is also acted as an energy producer in German power generation. Uranium is mainly used in nuclear power generation plants all across Germany. All uranium is now imported from Canada, Australia, Russia, and elsewhere. The major operators in this field are E.ON, RWE, and EnBW. Renewable energy producers, in terms of renewable sources, more than 700 companies are operating in Germany, but notably the famous names are ABO Wind, Sunfire Company, Nordex Wind Power, and Siemens Energy. In the context of renewables, they majorly generate energy from solar, wind, hydro, biomass, geothermal, and some miscellaneous sources. In H1 2022, Germany's energy sources are majorly owned by fossil fuel, which accounts for 50% of energy, whereas coal and natural account for nearly 45%. Rest is covered by renewable energy in form of solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, biomass, and miscellaneous. Transmit power from the source through transmission line. Here, transmission companies play a key role in Germany. They generally carry high frequency lines from the source to the distribution channels. In Germany, there are 4 major transmission system operators: 50 Hz, Amprion, TINE, and lastly Transnet BW. As of December 2020, there are around 900 distribution system operators, or also known as DSOs, registered with BNetzA, the German Regulatory Office for Electricity, Gas, Telecommunication, Post and Railway markets. Close to 800 of these DSOs operate networks with less than 1 lakh connected customers. As of December 2020, there were around 890 energy supply companies active in German electricity market. More than half of these companies supply less than 10,000 customers. Companies such as E.ON, EnBW, Vattenfall, and EWE, most of which are active in not only power production and or power supply, but also in electricity trading. Germany almost imports 70% of its gas from its neighbors such as the Netherlands, Czech Republic, Norway, and Russia, which account for nearly 30 to 35% of gas. It also has national storage of gas at 20% level at all times. This causes Germany into such a precarious position in energy matters. In recent years, Germany initiates the Energiewende energy transition policy to promote renewable energy, as it enjoyed strong acceptance among the general public and industry to become self-reliant on energy, but it didn't diversify its energy needs and solely relied on a single partner. After the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, the German government started decommissioning nuclear power plants out of order by 2022 and replacing them with renewable energy. Germany's energy strategy under former Chancellor Angela Merkel was dominated by advancing climate goals, and Russian gas did most of so-called bridge work amid a declining role of nuclear and coal. The rushed decision to exit nuclear energy, while well-intended, created an energy security vulnerability as Germany instead built more gas-fired power plants to bridge the transition to renewables.
To what America is officially calling a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Russian troops spreading out throughout the strategic Crimean Peninsula.
Regional deputies voted overwhelmingly for Crimea to join Russia as another region of the Russian Federation.
The annexation of Crimea and military intervention in eastern Ukraine in 2014 could have been an opportunity to launch a full review of Germany's energy ties. Instead, Germany doubled down on cost-competitive Russian gas imports, reflected in the state of construction of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline in 2018, which the Green Party opposed on the climate grounds and the US advocated against on energy security grounds. Russian gas has some major consequence on Germany's principal industries include machine building, automobiles, electrical engineering and electronics, chemicals, food processing and many more. The main plant of BASF, the world's largest chemical company, is located in Ludwigshafen. It carries out the production, marketing and sales of chemicals, plastic, crop protection products and performance products. It alone consumes as much as energy as per year as of Denmark. The situation is so bad, if it didn't improve, BASF had to do a major layoff and also need to close its plants occasionally. German aluminum industries are known for producing top quality aluminum products with competitive pricing and are in very bad shape. German aluminum is the backbone of several industries including automobiles and heavy machinery. As this industry engulfs a lot of energy during peak production hours, are finding difficulties to secure energy suppliers. German brewers are known as one of the top quality producers in Europe for a long time. Due to the energy crisis, this industry faces an existential crisis, and if the situation did not improve further, many may go bankrupt. Veltins rank 4th among Germany's best-selling beers and operating since 1824. Due to the energy situation, Veltins has purchased a 5-week supply of oil so it can switch from gas to oil in an emergency. But brewers are extremely dependent on upstream suppliers. The glass industry, for example, cannot operate without gas, as Veltins alone needs about 50 million new bottles every year. The whole industry needs about 900 million new beer bottles to keep the industry alive. German automakers also heavily relied on natural gas producers for the production of cars in Germany. German automakers consume nearly 30% of gas consumption and it heavily relies on fossil fuels. Volkswagen depended on non-renewable energy sources for around 80% of its needs, while BMW uses 60% according to carbon disclosure data based on 2020 figures, as automakers also heavily relied on several small ancillary companies which provides parts to German automakers. These companies also facing the heaviest chunk of the energy crisis as they were not able to secure energy source contract like their bigger counterparts like BMW, Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen. They are facing the choice of halting their production. Many European countries, including the Netherlands and Spain, have LNG liquefaction hubs on their coastlines, which enable them to convert LNG or liquid natural gas into gaseous natural gas. LNG is stored as a liquid at extremely low temperature and turns into gas in this FRSU, floating storage regasification unit. Germany doesn't create any such units on its coastline, and it was not in their long-term energy policy before the war. it heavily relied on Russia to fulfill 55% of its gas needs. In 2021, the European Union imported an average of over 380 million cubic meters per day of gas by pipeline from Russia, or around 140 billion cubic meters for the year as a whole. As well as that, around 15 BCM was delivered in form of LNG. The total 155 BCM imported from Russia accounted for around 45% of the European Union's gas imports in 2021 and almost 40% of its total gas consumption. Germany has developed a great dependence on natural gas imports from Russia, which had an import share of 55% in 2020 and total 46 billion cubic meters in 2021. The nation's leading research institutes, which compile the twice-yearly forecast, are IFO, IFW, IWH and RWI and many others, have estimated that Germany's economy will likely contract by 0.4% next year due to the impact of the energy crisis, which slashed their forecast from April of a 3.1% expansion. They cut their growth estimate for this year to 1.4% from 2.7% and said that they expect inflation to accelerate in coming months, climbing to an average rate of 8.8% next year compared with 8.4% this year. After the recent Russian invasion of Ukraine, the United States, Japan, Canada, European Union have put stringent sanctions on Russia, had crippled the Russian economy.
Shell on Monday joined the likes of BP and Norway's Equinor, announcing plans to quit the oil-rich nation.
That have been pulling out of Russian operations. And that's taken a lot of different forms, right? In some cases, it means companies like Shell are not going to be purchasing Russian assets. In some, it means closing stores, manufacturing operations, etc. And you have some new ones to add to the list.
Nike is to fully exit the Russian market. The sportswear giant had said back in March that it would suspend operations at all the stores it owns or operates.
And joining the chorus against Russia, energy major ExxonMobil has decided to exit Russia oil and gas operations.
Many Western companies either completely pull out from Russia or sold out their businesses, and many are in that transition.
McDonald's said today it will be closing all of its restaurants in that country for good. McDonald's says the humanitarian crisis caused by the war, the unpredictable business environment, and its own values make it impossible to keep operating in Russia.
This includes bigger names like McDonald's, British Petroleum, Equinor, and many more. Western investments are also being stopped flowing into Russia, and foreign investors are selling out their assets completely and looking for ways to exit Russia. European Union and the United States have already frozen the foreign assets, luxury boats, and real estate of Russian oligarchs and the foreign currency held in the US and Europe.
We commit to ensuring that a certain number of Russian banks are removed from SWIFT.
Major Russian banks have been removed from the international financial messaging system known as SWIFT. This has delayed payments to Russia for its oil and gas imports.
Today, we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe. This will be a complete import ban on all Russian oil seaborne and pipeline, crude and refined.
European Union on its sixth sanction package had imposed it will be banning all Russian oil by December 2022. It had already blocked the complete import of Russian coal into European Union states. Due to the greater reliance on natural gas, which needed for the electrical and industrial needs, the European Union hasn't blocked Russian gas yet, but it will gradually phase it out by the year 2024. This sanction has caused a massive uptick in the gas prices all across Germany, and the prices were at all-time high during peak summer season. The Dutch TTF recorded the highest price in the month of August, which rose to around Euro 326 per megawatt hour. It is estimated that the loss of Russian suppliers may be a leading cause of inflation and energy spikes in the entire European Union. On September 26, 2022,
powerful explosions damaged the two Nord Stream gas pipelines. That was according to Danish police on Tuesday.
At least 50 meters of an underwater pipeline Nord Stream 1, which brings Russian gas to Germany, is thought to have been destroyed by sabotage suspicion blast. Blue Eye Robotics used a submersible drone to film the twisted and bent metal of the Nord Stream pipe 80 meters beneath the surface of the sea. Parts of the pipeline are either missing or buried in the seabed, the company said. Due to this recent incident, Nord Stream 1, which carries almost 78% of gas to the European market, is being virtually cut off. And in the upcoming next year, this may cause severe depression in Europe as well as for the German economy. German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, or BWMK, announced on 30 March 2022 the early warning level of the so-called Emergency Plan for Gas, also known as Nordfall Plan gas. Under this law, 3 measures will be taken. This stage is triggered when there are concrete, serious and reliable indication that an event may occur which is likely to lead to a significant deterioration of gas supply situation and probably to the alarm or emergency level. Gas companies continue to ensure supplies until no supply disruption. Gas transmission system operators, or also known as TSOs, update Germany's economy ministry on daily basis. Electricity TSOs will ensure the stability of their grids. Gas suppliers will advise the government if any crisis occurs. The government immediately informed the European Commission about potential further measures, which can include revoking the early emergency status if the conditions are no longer met. This stage is triggered when there is a disruption or great demand for gas, which lead to a shortage of gas supply, but the market still working and no government action are needed. It kicks in when there is a high risk of long-term supply shortage of gas and theoretically enables utilities to pass on soaring gas costs to industry and households. Rules remain the same as early warning phase, but TSO and gas suppliers will work more effectively and try to procure gas from other sources. This stage is triggered when there is an exceptional demand for gas with a significant disruption in supply and non-market measures are needed in place to protect customers. Gas rationing will happen and the state will take over gas supply roles from private players. German regulator Bundesnetzagentur will take this task and secure gas for the protected customer to reduce minimal damage. It means to supply to the industry is curtailed first, while household and critical institutions such as hospitals continue to receive available gas. Germany needs a more gas regasification system to discontinue Russian gas, which can be done by setting permanent FRSU, or also known as floating storage regasification unit, near its coastline. There have been 3 major German LNG terminal projects going through the planning process for several years. Brunsbüttel, German LNG terminal at the Elbe River near the North Sea. This terminal is expected to be operational in 2026 and will have an annual throughput capacity of at least 8 billion cubic meters of natural gas with a possible expansion of at least 10 billion cubic meters. Wilhelmshaven is set to host a second floating terminal. The unit with 5 billion cubic meters capacity is planned to be operational from the third quarter of 2023. Lubmin, the site where the Nord Stream pipelines land in Germany, will also host 2 floating terminals. One would be leased by the government, which operational from the end of 2023 at the earliest. Germany also needs to diversify its energy needs, so it's trying to have a good relationship with Middle Eastern countries like Qatar, UAE and Saudi Arabia. Due to longer commitments in energy deals which generally last up to 20 years, Germany was rather hesitant to do deals with the Middle Eastern countries. During the recent visit of current German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and his ministers' visit to Middle Eastern countries has turned into some agreements. ASEAN-based energy group RWE signed a letter of intent with the Emirate state-owned Abu Dhabi National Oil Company covering the supply of 130,000 cubic billion meters of gas of LNG. The first volumes are due to arrive at the end of this year and are planned to be used in the commissioning of Germany's first LNG terminal at Brunsbüttel. Additional shipment could arrive starting in 2023. The arrangement with Qatar will also have a long-term character. The planned 30 billion expansion of the country's North Field, believed to harbor the world's largest natural gas reserves, it is expected to be completed before 2026. Through initial supplies could be landed in Germany as early as 2024. Qatar aims to nearly double its production of LNG by 2025 with the help of world's petrochemical majors including Total, Shell, ExxonMobil, Eni, ConocoPhillips and many more. Venture Globals, a US-based company, said on October 6, 2022, it will expand a 20-year contract with German utility EnBW by transporting 5 lakh tons of LNG a year and up to 2 million tons. Germany's electricity supply is becoming greener every year. The share of renewables in electricity consumption has steadily grown over the last few years, rising from around 6% in 2000 to around 38% in 2018. This means that the 35% target for 2020 was reached earlier than expected. In 2025, 40 to 45% of electricity consumed in Germany is to derive from renewables. This is the aim set out in the Renewable Energy Sources Act. At the end of 2018, the number of PV installations stood at 1.6 million. This produced around 45 gigawatts of electricity, making PV the second largest source of renewable electricity after onshore wind energy, with an installed capacity of over 52 gigawatts. In 2018, onshore and offshore wind installation accounted for an installed capacity of 52.5 and 6.4 gigawatts respectively. In total, approximately 110 terawatts hours were generated. The share of wind energy in Germany's gross electricity consumption now stands at 18.6%. According to plans drafted by federal government, offshore wind capacity is to reach 15 gigawatt by 2030. Biomass accounts for almost 23% of renewable electricity generation, 86% of renewable energy in total heat and cooling consumption, and 88% of the renewables in the final energy consumption in the transport sector. Germany's federal parliament, Bundestag, has passed legislation forcing gas infrastructure operators to fill storage facilities to certain levels throughout the year to avoid storage during the winter months. According to the new legislation, gas storage filling will continue to happen in a market-based way, but if necessary, tenders for gas option will be used to incentivize higher volumes. The law obliges Trading Hub Europe GmbH, established as a corporation of all gas pipeline operators in Germany, to gradually fill the gas storage facilities to 80% on 1st October, 90% on 1st November, and 40% on 1st February. Energy education should be a part of the school curriculum as well as a nationwide campaign through public awareness to be run on how to efficiently use energy and reduce energy wastage. As Germany uses natural gas as an energy source, it needs to have a concrete policy measures such as reducing the temperature during the summer, use of fewer air conditioners, high efficient use of gadgets that can conserve energy, and use of solar/PV rooftop for electricity as well as for heating purposes during winter. Replacing natural gas burner with heat pumps which are more energy efficient and can reduce electricity bills. I hope this video will shed some light on the ongoing energy crisis and give an insight into how Germany's situation turns from bad to worse. Also check out how a designer turns the fortune of Nintendo into a multi-billion-dollar company and created the world's highest selling video game. Thank you and bye bye.